Let's wait for her. Let's wait for Vaishnavi. Vaishnavi, you can just
Yeah, it
talk.
started, sir. Sorry, you can go ahead.
Okay, thank you. Okay. Hi, hello, and welcome to another episode of Featurepreneur Presents Live AMA. It gives me great joy to host the very first live AMA of Featurepreneur for the year 2021. Firstly, let me start by wishing all of you a very happy and prosperous new year. Happy 2021, guys. Today, amidst us, we have an on-thrilling personality. It's none other than Gayathri Adimulam. Welcome to our live AMA, Gayathri.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
It was a pleasure. She is a data science enthusiast who extends her interest in machine learning and natural language processing. She is currently pursuing a master's degree at Colonge University of Applied Science. She is also currently working as an intern at Bosch, where she is practicing a master's thesis on the domain natural language processing, that is NLP. On that note, I extend my hearty welcome to Gayathri Adimulam on behalf of Featurepreneur. Thank you so much for joining us today. Awaiting a great session with you, Gayathri.
Thank you. Thank you again.
Like I said, I'm very excited for the session ahead. Stay tuned with us throughout the session in order to shoot out your intriguing questions and also to win those exciting prizes. So, before we begin, Gayatri, can you please introduce yourself?
Okay, so my name is Gayathri Adimulam. I am currently doing my master's degree in automation and IT in Technische Hochschule Cologne. Okay, the University of Applied Science is called. And currently, I'm going to finish my master thesis in the topic of tracelink candidate generation to improve the requirements traceability in with respect to the self-driving cars. And my bachelor's was in electronics and communication engineering. And yeah, I'm looking forward to start my career as a machine learning engineer soon. So that's a quick introduction about myself.
That was very interesting in a nutshell, I would say. A very interesting career you're trying to pursue up there. So congratulations on that, firstly.
Thank you.
My first question for you. We heard that you practiced automation engineering. Is it?
Yeah.
What fascinated you to choose automation engineering? We don't see much girls here choosing that type of engineering. So what fascinated you to go for it?
Yeah, automation engineering is, let's say, it involves both. There are two ways. It's either software or it also involves automating in terms of, let's say, huge industries like chemical plants, oil plants, and everything. So, especially the course which I am doing is interesting since it covers both sides. The first part was that it covers all the controllers and PID controllers and let's say this is how you automate everything in very huge plants here. And this was really, really interesting because especially in my course, you get to do everything on lab. We had the software, which is a real-time simulation environment. So you learn to control actuators and all these controllers and everything, which was interesting. And the second part, which I actually moved towards now, was the data science direction. And yeah, it was the first time that I wanted to do this course, and this course offered, let's say, my background extension, advanced courses from my background, and also a new field, which is data science. So as I started learning data science, I felt that I was actually having fun doing that. So when I had the chance to choose this or that, I chose data science to, to go my career, start my career. Yeah.
Okay, that was interesting. I like how you're exploring new things. You're
Yeah.
fascinating me here out there to explore things as well. So as you were saying, you switched from more practical kind of a domain from automation to data science, and you decided to pursue your higher education in Germany. So Why Germany? Like, why did you choose Germany?
Okay, the first thing everyone who wants to pursue higher education, I would say, is that instead of just looking at the syllabus, you should actually talk to people who are already there. So, because the first thing that I noticed when I came here is the way we study. The education system is completely different. For example, all the lab works that I did in university, I would say we had certain programs that we have already done in the lab, and during the exam you just redo the same thing, right? So basically you know what you're going to do, you are just going to pick your questions. But here what it is that even when you're doing your assignments or anything, you won't be given any help. So you will be let's say led to explore what you should do. So this is something that I've heard from, let's say, the previous students who have done the courses, who have done across different, let's say, fields that I wanted to study. And this is something that you can look forward in Germany. The way of education is completely different. You actually, let's say, learn by exploring and doing something wrong or doing something right. So this could be really interesting for people who really look forward to learn from, let's say, in a practical domain rather than doing learning much theory.
Yeah, that's very true. Like you said, learn from your mistakes. Like failure is a stepping stone to success. True to those quotes. Like as you were saying, you gave us a wonderful tip saying talk to the people of that country and find out if you really want to be there. So
Yeah.
you were saying that. So did that actually help you to adapt to that environment there when you went there? Because that's one fear in all of us when you have to migrate from one country to another for education. You are like,
Mm-hmm.
oh my God, how will the people be there? How will I get adapted to their culture? So that's
Yeah.
one fear in all of us. So how did you adapt to Germany and Germans?
Um, the first thing that you should know about moving to a foreign country is that you need not be afraid that it's going to be a very huge different. People are going to be different. All of these things. People that I have met so far are just like us. I mean, they also doesn't know about us. We also don't know about them. So it's kind of like, let's say, we are learning about each other's culture and everything. And so it is not something like you should be afraid of. It's something you're going to learn a new thing, let's say like that. So I wouldn't say it is a huge deal. Maybe with respect to the kind of living, it might be a bit different because from India, we aren't used to so much freedom to live on our own and let's say to even do everything or take care of ourselves, push ourselves to every let's say every point. Even in let's say even now during universities, the teachers or professors will push you to study, and there is no, let's say, too much independence that you do everything. It's kind of like there's always someone to push you to do things. But here what it is that it's just you, so you should know what is good for you, and you should actually push yourself to do things. This is something that I felt which was quite different.
Yeah, that's true to what you said. Your mind's your boundary. If you are ready to explore, you will be out there shining. That's very true.
Mm-hmm.
Let me go a little off topic. Let me ask you a non-tech question, which we ask most of our speakers who come here. Like we want to
Okay.
know more about you. Let me say that you, Gayatri, you received $1 million. What would
Mm-hmm.
be the first thing that you want to do with us?
With $1 million. Okay,
Yes.
I'm more of a, let's say, saving kind of person. So I will probably save 500,000. And the
Okay.
other thing that I would like to do is to support, kids kids for their education who can't do that. This is something that my parents do, and that which I still do with whatever money I have. So I will let's say I will give half of that to that
Okay.
money.
So you'll continue to do it. That's a very kind gesture from your family. Like most
Yeah,
of the
yeah.
advice we got from our guests is if I had so much money, I will just sit at home and enjoy. But then you were like, no, I'll save it up and work for more. That was interesting.
Yeah, you never
Yes.
know what the future holds. So it's better that you save that and yeah.
I could relate to it. Yes, you will never know what the future has for you. Very true.
Yeah.
Yeah. As you were saying that you've been working with one of your master's thesis, right? So can you
Mhm.
throw some light on your thesis work?
Okay, so let's say the objective or the primary goal of my thesis is to improve the requirements traceability. Requirements traceability is, let's say, in order to understand how each document is related to one another, how everything is evolving. So I'm working with these documents from the self-driving cars, and this self-driving cars, it's, let's say, it is developing every day. So you never know what new features you're going to introduce. There'll be always something new to introduce. So one of the main things that you is important in these kind of systems is to always note what kind of requirements you need, and these requirements are connected to the functions that you make for the requirements, like basically what you program. So what one thing that it is difficult here is that to connect these requirements, like 4 years back there might be one requirement, and upon improvising today you're going to build a new requirement. So my thesis is to improve this requirements traceability by analyzing the textual similarity. um, I'm using Google's universal sentence encoder and also vector space models to calculate the similarity, and based on that to check if you can say if two artifacts or requirements are related to each other based on this.
All right, I've not heard a very edifying explanation so far from any of our speakers. Thank you so much for sharing that information. Yeah, so we wish you good luck on improvising all those requirements and the project you've been working on, Gayatri. So
Thank
my
you.
next question is, we heard that you've been working with NLP as well, natural language processing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so can you give us an overview of what you learned when you're practicing NLP?
Okay, one of the interesting things that I've actually looked at my, let's say, project is that natural language is not every time straightforward wherever you use NLP. There'll be too many, let's say, data that you don't need, like especially with my data, there'll be hyperlinks and data which is in table format, data which is, not complete, and all of these things. So natural language processing can be, it is not like the boy ate apple. The sentences are not always like that. So that is one thing that I found really interesting. And yeah, while learning this, it was really interesting, because whatever you're learning with whatever I have learned with natural language processing, I can implement it to, let's say, a chatbot and all of these let's say interesting, curious things that we see in everyday lives. I mean, whatever I'm talking can also be used as, let's say, a data, and natural language processing can help you to find these kind of recordings and everything. Yeah, this
Yeah.
is something really interesting that I did.
Yeah, the way you say it as if I'm like intriguing to like know more about that project. It sounds very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I like how you are being an actual software engineer who's relating everything you say to a data using those technical terms, and you're like, yes, I use technical terms for everything. That
Yeah,
was
data is the new oil now, so should
yes,
be.
true. For every developer, data is the oil. Yeah, that was
Yeah.
interesting. Yeah, so as you were saying, you were also an intern at Bosch, right?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so what was your experience with them, working for them?
Working with Bosch is Bosch was, to me, it one thing is that they always find something new to do, especially in my team. So the project that I started wasn't actually there. So when I went there, we talked and we thought, okay, this is something really interesting to do. So we will start doing that. So while I worked there, I started working in the development of a REST API for a requirements management tool. So this helped me to improve my Python programming skills, because in this it was completely in Python, and I haven't actually worked developing a whole package in Python. So this helped me to do that, to improve my Python skills. And what was interesting is that the data that I got from by using the REST API that I built is what I'm using for my thesis. So this is kind of like a whole project by step. So when everything, whatever you do is put on implementation or put for production, it is a nice feel. So they don't really say that, okay, this is not your full job, or you're just a student, you're just an intern, but they actually hear to your ideas, they make you feel like you are one of the professional workers who are there. So yeah, she's really good. Especially my team was too great.
Yeah, that was a new information about Bosch for us. So how do you manage like your studies, your masters, as well as your internship work, like hand in hand? How did that go for you?
Yeah, these times could be, let's say, too hectic for you, because I'm living here and I have to cook myself. I have to do all these menial jobs that you should do, and you don't have anyone to do that for you. So what I did was, let's say, I usually work more time when I'm doing my part-time job. So, and also work more for the case studies, and even during the weekends you were supposed to work. So yeah, I wouldn't say you will get too much free time. The thing is, if you have to improve, you have to use your free time to, let's say, learn something that you want to do.
Okay, I
If you
have
are
to. Yes, yes, please.
if you are really interested, to improve yourself, this shouldn't be a huge deal for you.
Yes, yes. I have to definitely highlight that you're a very hardworking person that I've come across. You study, you work for your you do your professional work at the same time you take care of your later other stuffs as well. I can't even imagine doing all that in a day and not have a me time. I'm pretty impressed. And then I can also see that you're very interested and you're keen to pursue stuff. I think that's what is leading you to do all this, right?
Yeah, that's true. I mean, once you find something passionate about to do, it is not like, no, I can't do this. It is always like, oh, this
Exactly.
is interesting. Let me learn this.
Exactly. That was very impressive and appreciable. And the next question for you is also a little off-table non-tech question. We heard you like to read books.
Yeah.
So what kind of genre do you read mostly? Do you
I
have a
mostly
specific
read
author?
the one that I like most genre is that detectives and all these mysteries things. So I'm a huge fan of Nancy Drew series, but I also learn all these romance novels. So when I read, I don't do, let's say, too much technical things. I also read technical books, but not if I want to read, I will always go for these fantasy stuffs, to get just a bit out of world.
Yeah, true. We vibe. I have to say that I'm a very big fan of detective novels as well. Like
Oh,
I
that's
love Agatha Christie's books. Like it's then the rom-coms are just icing on the cake. It's like it just those books are icing on the cake. It adds up to all the detective novels, and
yeah.
that's messed up with your brain. It just ices on the cake for you. Yeah, thank you
Mhm.
so much for sharing that. Coming back, my next question is, can you explain about the publications and research work that you've done so far?
To talk about my research works, the one research that I did recently was with my professor, it was, let's say, as a part-time work only that I did, but it was again with respect to machine learning to detect anomalies in the water supply project here in a state called Thuringen. This was done to improve the quality of the water here, because here everyone uses tap water for everything, unlike India. So they wanted to kind of make sure that the chlorine level and all these levels are, let's say, maintained properly. And if there is something, let's say, unusual, they get an alarm. So this was one research work that I did with their data. And before that, I actually did all the, let's say, small projects that I can while doing my studies, because I wanted to improve my profile to come here to Germany. So one thing was, one research that I did was the smart trash. The smart trash was, let's say, it is a system that improves the garbage collection across the city. So you have a central hub from where you can control these, and every time a bin is full, it will send you signals, and let's say the garbage collector will go and collect the bin. The other project, which was really interesting, one of the biggest projects that I worked was with building the solar cart. So it was nice to know, because we built the solar cart from scratch. It was not let's say the electronics engineer work was very, very small, but I learned many other things like welding and let's say with the solar panel connections, and how to drive with all these things. It was fun with that project. And what else? And the very first programming project that I then did was with C, building a library management system. It was so much of, let's say, long coding with a little bit data that you can actually use. It was not a huge project if I talk about that now, but at that time it was really big. And what else have I done? The other one was to just learn about different semiconductor devices, just to see how they work in MATLAB, their performances. That's all.
It's a going on list, right? It's like
Yeah,
never ending.
I don't remember all the lists, I guess.
Okay. Yeah, but I noticed all of your projects are very philanthropic. It's like socially beneficial kind of projects, right? It's very appreciable.
Yeah.
Were those one of those projects also done with AI and robotics, as it was
Mm-hmm.
mentioned in your LinkedIn? Like I heard you worked with one of your projects in AI and robotics.
Mm-hmm.
Can you speak to us about that?
Okay, so this project is, let's say, was in collaboration with the University of Amsterdam. So this is basically, let's say, you're going to produce a child robot from two parents robot. So when they introduced us this project, it was really, really nice to see, because it is basically like producing a child. So the two, when they showed us the video and all, what they use is that they create the genomes, and they let's say produce this build these robots using plastic and using 3D printers, and they make them run on their own using all these let's say robot controllers and everything. So what we did was just a part to understand this. We were asked to build an evolutionary algorithm, and to give ideas about how to make these robots, let's say, move faster. So yeah, we had just a few ideas that we tried out, like alternating the evolutionary algorithm steps like mutation and recombination, and making sure only a small part is removed or added, and to improve the, let's say, they have a supercomputer to do that, but we didn't have that. We just had our laptop. So to improve, we tried to manage to use all the cores except one to make the process faster. And what was interesting was that we also ran these robots that we built in a simulation environment using Docker. Yeah, this was interesting too because you see something that they have already working on, and to learn from it, like you just play around.
All right. Hearing out to your projects, I feel like I'm living in 2050, like really evolution of new humankind's like production of robots from another robot. And you're talking of genomes and all those stuffs. I'm just fascinated. I'm dreaming. Am I even living in the right century? Yeah, you've taken me to a all lot of fantasy land, I would say. Yeah. So I can see that you've laid your hand on biology, on different various versatile domains like biology, mechanical side, electrical side, welding, and all that. So, what is that next skill that you would want to really learn?
Next skill, let's say I'm still not an expert in the field of data science. I wanted to improve myself there, and something that I'm looking forward to improve with respect to here is the cloud platforms. The cloud technologies is really, let's say, emerging very fast, and you can see a lot of market trends telling that most of the companies will be using cloud technologies in 5 years, 10 years, almost all of them. And this is really, let's say, interesting because if you want to do a startup, you don't have to spend so much money on your warehouses and everything. You just get the resources from these huge companies they offer. You don't have to worry about safety and everything. So I already did my very first course, but it's not like you can learn just from your first experience. You have to do a lot of projects. So this is something that I look forward to learn. And the other thing that I wanted to do is to work more with unstructured data, let's say with images or audio signals and everything. Yeah, these two things are in my, let's say, to-do list.
Okay, so you've laid your foundation. It's yet to build up. We wish you
Yeah,
a very good luck on that. Yeah. So
thank you.
before we end, can you give us an insight for those who wanted to pursue their higher studies abroad? Like, what are the things that they have to note down and they have to check on?
Okay, the very first thing that you should be sure of is what you want to study because you should always know, just because you wanted to do a master degree abroad doesn't mean that you can do any course because it's not how it works here. If you always have to put your everything and you should always have your foundation right to finish a master degree because you do all your single individual assignments and you even write your thesis alone. So you should be really sure about what you want to do. And the second thing is that once you're sure about that, you should do a lot of projects, let's say even small, big, it doesn't matter, projects, and you should make your profile, let's say, enough to for you to be selected to do the program. So if you are planning to, let's say, join right after you finish your bachelor degree, then you should have a lot of work to do here because with me, there were people who worked in the automation industry for 10 years, 50, 11 years, 5 years. So you there are a lot of people who wanted to do the course who have more experience already in the field, in the industry itself. So if you're going to join in the very, let's say, if without any experience, actual industrial experience, you should make sure that you do all these projects to make yourself worthy to be chosen. And yeah, the internships are also very, let's say, useful for you. And what else? You should be ready to, let's say, put your feet inside the mud and work if you want to come
Yeah.
here.
Very true, very true. Thank you so much for sharing those key information, I would say. Like you said, like you need to figure out what you want to learn and not focus on I have to go abroad and learn that factor.
Yeah.
Instead, focus on what you really want to learn. That's very true. Like all your parents just push their kids saying go abroad and learn, but they don't really say that you have to pursue your career in this. They want
That's
their kids
true.
to get abroad. Yeah, that's very
Yeah,
true.
anyway, I should say that it is not like what I'm saying, it's always going to be too much study. You will always also have so much fun here. There are a lot of things to do, like a lot of nice places to see, and the culture. You will have even very nice time to enjoy with all your friends and everything. So that is also the fun part of living in Germany too. So it's not always about studying. So yeah.
Yeah, that was very sweet of you to share all that. So that's pretty much the questions from my side. But we still have questions from the public and
Mhm.
also from the audience who have joined us today.
Okay.
So now it's time for all of you participants to shoot out your questions. If you have any questions, you can ask Gayatri now.
Hi, ma'am.
Hi.
Yeah, you have passed out 3 years ago, right, from Anna University,
Mm-hmm.
and today you're being a standalone person with a lot of unique characters. Actually, yeah, you're
Thank you.
specializing in NLP, machine learning, and this kind of stuff. And
Mm-hmm.
what were the productive things which you did in your college days?
During my bachelor's, you mean, with in
Yeah,
India? Okay, yeah, that's what, as I said, one thing that I did that none of my colleagues or let's say college mates did was doing internship. So this was something that I did, and you always need to do some small project. I mean, we know that you have to study a lot, especially in bachelor's in India, but you should always find time to do these projects. I mean, we have a lot of symposiums and we
yeah,
have a lot of science exhibitions and everything. So even if it's something that's already been done, you make sure that you can build that from scratch and present that, and you should make your profile very, let's say, good. And it is not just about making that too. You should make sure that you learn so many stuffs.
okay,
So yeah, you should have fun and everything, but apart from your, let's say, syllabus curriculum, you should do extra projects and always volunteer to do something new from what you have learned theoretically.
okay. Mm, and
Okay, thank you.
yeah,
Okay, Gokul, you
one
have
more
another
question.
question?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
sure. Okay.
And were you a topper during your bachelor's degree? Was that characteristic took you to this position, or those volunteering activities and many more stuffs you said, participating in symposium, doing many projects, that part of your life brought you to this stage, or the being a bookworm took you to this stage?
Okay, so I would say that I really had a very good score in bachelor's too. But if you have to do something practical, you always need your theoretical knowledge. So I would say both are equally important. If you just be a bookworm, it's not enough in today's world. It is not enough at all,
Yeah.
especially if you want to become an engineer. Engineering is all about building stuff. So to build, you also need your theory, right? So I would say
Yeah.
50-50.
Okay. Do you have any majority part? This one contributed for my success, like this, or you just stand by that 50-50?
Majority part, there is no majority part and all, Gokul. You should actually, let's say, do what you want to do. And if you think this is something you want to do, I think you will do everything that you can do.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Gokul, for those questions.
Yeah. Thank you.
Hope maybe it was helpful for you. I would definitely say, Gayatri, that you inspired a lot of our participants. They really want to know what led you to the success because they want to get there too. Uh, you're an inspiration, I would say, Gayatri, and keep up that good
Thank
work.
you. Thank you so
Yeah,
much.
yeah. Meanwhile, any more questions? If not, I will ask those public questions now. If you guys
Hello,
have
ma'am.
any questions,
Hello,
uh,
ma'am. Yes, I have Sonia.
Hi, Divya. Yes, you can ask your question now.
Hello, ma'am. I'm Divya.
Hello, Divya.
Any difficulties you faced during your higher studies preparation for going for
Yeah,
German? Difficulties or discouragements like that?
discouragements. One thing that I faced was that my parents weren't sure if they should send me abroad because I have never been out of, let's say, Tamil Nadu. So they wanted to make sure that I'm choosing the right path. I have started to prepare to come here from the second year of my bachelor's, but they were always afraid to send me so far away. So one thing that they wanted me to do was also attend the placements that the college university offers. So there I had too much work because I had to study the German language and write these exams for the German language and do the IELTS course and exams. And the other side, I have also to attend the placements, study for the placements. So there was a point where after, let's say, I must have attended more than 50 companies during the placements, and before attending the final company where I actually got placed, I said, no, I'm done with this. I will go to Germany. I'm not going to get any job, so I don't want to do this. That was a breaking point for me. But let's say, I don't know how that works for everyone. When I said I'm going to give up, I got the job. Uh, that was really, let's say, a very difficult period that I had to manage. I even gave up at a point, but still there were people around me, friends, who said, okay, let's go to this last one. Let's just go to this last one. You don't have to do so much. You can just come have fun with us. So yeah, there will be always people to push you, or to, let's say, bring you up in these situations. So that was one of the difficulties that I faced.
Yes, ma'am. Actually, it's a usual one where each Tamil girl face. And the next question is similar to that. And our South Indian girl should mentally prepare while going for abroad studies alone. If she goes alone, what are the difficulties she'll face there?
Difficulties, especially us, we should learn how to cook. So I have never cooked at all. That is something you should prepare for. If you should ask me, that would be a very, let's say, very, very huge thing, because you wouldn't be very comfortable with eating the food here in the very first few months, because it will be completely different, the food they provide here in the cafeteria. So I remember waking up at 6 o'clock to prepare food, and then you have to get ready, and you will sometimes feel so tired, and you have to come back and again cook for dinner. So apart from that, culture-wise, Germany is so safe. You need not worry. To me personally, I've actually been really felt safer here than in India. Even in this city, I live alone. I don't have any friends here because I moved for my job. I always go alone, come back alone. Whatever time it is, you can feel safe. So there isn't, let's say, something that you have to prepare yourself. Girls from anywhere, I would say, because Germany is such a safe country, and you don't have to worry about that. You just have to, let's say, have an open mind to things, to learn new things, to learn their culture. That's all.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Then another question, because Germany, the national language is German. Then how you manage with the languages, ma'am? English and German.
Yeah, like I've been a very, very, very slow learner, but yeah, you should also take courses. For me, learning just in India wasn't enough, because let's say the accent itself changes completely when you come here. It was very difficult for me in the first 2, 3 months, because I didn't understand any word that they told, even in the supermarkets or anything. So yeah, but then as you come here and you talk to people, and as you go everywhere, you will actually learn. So language, if it is the same for any new language that you're gonna learn. So you should actually keep that also in touch. Like, make sure that you always practice that. And most of them talk English here, so you need not worry about that too much. But you should learn. It's a must if you have to study in German universities.
Okay, ma'am. Then you said that the education system differs in Germany and in India. What are the things we can change in India in education system? You feel, what are you missing in
Okay,
that? Yes.
this has been a talk for so long. I guess I remember about
Yes.
this right from high school. One thing that I don't want, that I really thought that it was really fun while I was doing that. Like, you remember, I think they changed from the state board to the summer cheer. So at that time, I was so happy that I don't have to learn so much. It's so fun. But now I can see that, if you have learned the state board, you might have learned more. So the other education change that I would do is that you need not, focus on every keywords, memorize from start to back, all of these things. Now when I think about this, it was really exhausting, and it didn't make any sense at all for you to memorize things. I mean, of course, you need to remember things, but memorizing every problem, even every mathematical problem, asking the same questions in the exams, not being able to, let's say, look out of the box. So yeah, this could be something that could be changed in the education system, especially in Tamil Nadu State Board, or in the universities too, I would say.
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am. Then my final question is, what are the things you are missing from India?
Uh, let's say sometimes you will miss home too much. Like now, I haven't been home for more than a year. So now I can't fly because of Corona and everything. That's something you will miss for sure. But yeah, if the situation is normal, you can always go back. The other thing you will miss in India is familiar faces, I would say. Like, when you see people across Tamil Nadu, you will always feel familiar. Here, it won't be like that. That's something you will miss, but I don't think so. This shouldn't be of huge concern because you came to have a different experience. And yeah, to me, so far, it is a very nice experience here in Germany. I just
All
miss home
right.
sometimes. That's all.
All
Thank
right.
you, ma'am.
We all go homesick. That's very true. Thanks, Gayatri. Thank you, Divya. Hope that helped you. That was pretty a long question for you, Gayatri.
No
I'm glad you
problem.
were willing to answer. Due to time constraints, we are moving on to the public questions. So we had collected few questions from the public. We had asked them to post their questions on our social media pages. And the
Mhm.
first question is from Venkat, and he is asking you, what is the difference in the interview experience between India and Germany? Your thoughts on it?
Okay, so I can say from my experience in bachelor's and master's interviews that I've had so far. Um, with bachelor's, let's say in India, of course, there are a lot of candidates. They have to filter out. So you go through a lot of rounds. It can be very depressing because you go through all of those rounds, and in the final one or two rounds, you lose. So that is something that I face too, and there'll be always more and more rounds. And here, what I noticed was that they always make you feel friendly a lot, and they always it is always a bit shorter process, let's say, and they look towards the knowledge that you have in the first round, and in the second round, if it's going to be a developer role or something, they give you a case study to let's say see if you have actually all the knowledges that you have talked about. And one thing is, I wouldn't say it is much different in the corporate world. It might be just because of the huge number of applicants in India that you have to go through all of those rounds, because it makes sense. They have to filter out people. Here, it is more of they choose in the very first thing. It's a very first round with your CV itself, and yeah, it's more or less the same. So there isn't much difference. I would say maybe a bit friendlier, and you will, let's say, talk a lot here with a recruiter, or let's say the technical persons.
Okay, so it's more like a friendly gesture than the boss employee attitude, right? Okay.
I wouldn't say that actually. In corporate world today, everyone are friendly. In India
Okay.
or wherever it is. It is just that you talk more with the people here, but as far as I've noticed in India, you talk only during the final rounds or something.
Yes.
Here from the very
Yes.
first round you talk.
Yeah, very true. Yeah, that was a very informative information for all of us, as all of us are like final year and pre-final year students who joined the meeting today.
Mhm.
So quickly moving on to the next question. The next question is from Shweta, and she's asking, I have a couple of friends who flew to Germany for their studies, and is it mandatory to learn German? Because it was said that they had to spend their first year of their studies to learn German. So if that is true, is it better to learn German like when you leave from India itself, or like go there in practice?
Okay, one basic thing is that it is not for the higher education itself that you should learn German. So the level of German that you should learn or you must learn depends upon the city that you're gonna go. So in each city, the government will put a requirement. Let's say that you have to learn this level of German. It can vary anywhere. So before you are gonna apply, each university has this requirement, so you should learn before going there. While submitting your application, you should have these certificates that you have learned. So the other thing, even though you have learned let's say even the highest level, here, as I said, the accent is different, the usage is different. So you, again, if you come here, you have to learn. And yeah, with respect to language, it does, you can't stop anywhere. It is a learning process, and you should always be in touch. So you should always learn. So you should learn in India and again here, both of that.
Okay, so it's like practice in both
Yeah.
places. It's okay. Thank you for sharing that. Like even I personally didn't know that. So yeah, that information was very vital. And the last question for you is from David, and he's asking, I had applied for higher education in US and German. If I'm offered from both these places, which one should I prefer, and what is the difference in their education, if you have if you know about it?
Okay, so I don't have much insights from, let's say, US because one thing that I didn't look for US is the very first thing, the cost tuition fees. It was a very basic thing that I looked personally because I took a loan to come here. So in US, you have to spend at least 1 crore to pay as a
Okay.
tuition. Here, let's say for me, I paid around 20,000 per semester, and in that 20,000 itself, I've had the transportation free across the whole state where I lived in. So the education is let's say almost free here in Germany. And with respect to studying, I would say wherever you are, it depends on you how much you study, depends on how much effort you put. And the professor or whoever it is, the lecturer, if you go and ask them to do more and you learn and everything, it is all up to you. So I would say the only thing that I actually didn't explore more about US was for the budget. And let's say because I'm moving, the safety and the standard of living, the way of living, and the visa concerns. In Germany, once you are done with masters, you get 18 months for job seeking itself. And
Okay.
yeah, so there are, let's say, more than education system, you should look at other things itself because you're moving away from home and there won't be anybody to help you. You should have a peaceful life.
Yes,
Yeah.
rightly said.
Mhm.
Rightly said, yeah. So other than just the education that you're trying to pursue, the amount, the fee, the tuition fee, and the amount of time you get to spend there also are the major factors. So thank you so
Mhm.
much for sharing all that. So those were all the questions from our side. I would like, we're almost going to conclude the meeting.
Okay.
So on, so is there anything that you want to add on apart from all that you said today to our interns and our participants?
interns and participants, what I would say is that if you want to do something, do that. You always have to make sure that you, let's say, prove that you are capable of doing that to the people around you. Anyone will say anything, especially to the girls there. Even I've heard people telling my parents, don't let a girl go that far. What you will do if she's sick, or what if something happens. All of these talks will come, but you should just prove to them that you are so determined to do that, and you will do that. And once you are given the chance, get the chance and work to make yourself better.
Yeah, that's very true. Be brave to pursue your dreams. True, very
Mhm.
true words from your side. Thank you so much, Gayatri. It was a pleasure to have you. It was a very informative session, personally for
Thank
me
you.
too, I would say. So once again, on behalf of Featurepreneur and our entire
Sonia,
community, yes.
yeah,
Uh,
one more question finally.
Okay.
oh, okay, Gokul. Yeah, I
Uh,
hope you will keep it short because
yeah,
it's
yeah, short.
on. Okay, Gokul.
Ma'am, what's your next goal in life after your master's in NLP?
Yeah, I'm starting my career, and I really, really hope that in 5 years to 10 years time, I can go to a position like Raja sir to, guide people to, and yeah, to have hands on so many projects and become an expert in the field of data science.
Okay, hope you help the students as like Raja sir in future.
Yeah, actually, I have a question for Raja sir too. Raja sir, could you tell me your, let's say, path towards becoming a mentor to all these students? What inspired you, and how you reached your position now?
Ah, that's a good question, actually. So when I speak a lot. I struggled a lot in my childhood years. I come from very Tamil medium school. I come from Tamil medium background, actually, and I
Mm-hmm.
come from a very rural place. The struggle I gone through a lot. But one thing it just triggered me, like all my teachers, all my students, like the students who supported me, they supported me from their like out of their heart. They didn't do for money. They didn't do for anything. They just did for because they liked it. So
Mm-hmm.
maybe if you ask me, why do I mentor? Why do I support these students? Everything goes back to my teachers and my fellow students actually, because those guys they shaped me. So I'm kind of happy to respect them. I'm just helping the students to pay respect to my teachers. That's what I would definitely say that. It's
Oh,
not an
that's
easy
so
thing.
nice.
Yeah, it's not an easy thing, but as long as you like it, so it's not gonna hurt you, right? So I'm learning a
Yeah, of
lot from
course.
my juniors actually. So to be honest, yeah, I learn a lot from my juniors. So that's also one selfish thing. You can learn a lot from your juniors. Like in
Yeah,
India,
that's true.
yeah, in India, people they don't want to learn from juniors, but that's the gold rush you could learn it from. People they don't
Mm-hmm.
understand, but I understand the gold rush concept. So as long as you learn from them, also you can help them out because there are a lot of things you can help them out. There's a lot of trading you can do that, which means you can give them a knowledge that they can give you something back, so you can learn a lot from them. Actually,
Okay,
I'm
that's
happy
good
like
to know.
yeah, trust. Sorry to interrupt. Like once upon a time, I was trying for Germany because I flunked like anything in my college days. Trust me, I did not even go to the like some of the exams. So going abroad is my dream actually. Even I couldn't believe sometimes I'm here. When I was applying for Germany, most of the German universities they said you're not qualified. There are two reasons. One is you are a mechanical engineering student. You're applying for computer science. The second one is you have a backlogs, too many backlogs. It's that was like a two big things. I
Mm-hmm.
couldn't do anything. I could not even qualify for Germany, and I applied for different countries. Trust me, I applied for 17 different countries. I'm the if
Oh.
you ask me 160 applications I sent out, somehow it turned out one is okay and just finally settled down. Yeah, just in one thing in India can do it's Indians have a lot of energy to study as well as the you can export the bride. The biggest export is Indian bride actually. You can just
Mm-hmm.
go and spread it over the world and adapt to the culture and also go to abroad and share the knowledge to the country because fellow students they can just follow your path actually. Maybe
Mm-hmm.
if I was a college student, definitely I would have gone with you. I would have gone follow the path. Actually, it's not an easy thing, but
Mm-hmm.
definitely you inspired a lot. Even if I was, let's say, if I'm in the college right now, your words would have inspired me, to be honest.
Thank you so much, sir. I really hope that I could become a entrepreneur like you in a, let's say, in a long term, in 10, 20 years. I would also like to become an entrepreneur soon.
Oh, that's good. We can happy to help. But it's not an easy path. Trust
I
me, it's not
know,
an easy path. You're gonna lose your life, so it's not an easy path. So if you
I
like it,
know.
why not? It's not a big deal. And also,
Yeah,
like, if you
that.
need anything, like, yeah, such interrupt. If you need anything, my friends are there. Two of my friends are there. They are my close
Mhm.
friends actually. But I kept telling them, like, yeah, I'll just come one day, but I never show up. They just kept telling me. But one day, maybe I'll just go to Germany and just like stay with them for a while. But now, definitely, I'll just like can make a connection with them so they can. They already settled down, so maybe you can get to know them. Just so they can help you a little bit.
That would be nice, sir. That's so nice of you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, and thanks for your time joining us. Like your like a speech, it really inspired us, and like a lot of students, they got good questions they asked. Maybe one day they can follow your path. Maybe they can come out of India. They can just different like understand the different country and the education system different. Thank you.
Of course. Anyone, if you have any questions, you can always contact me. I mean, I always used to answer to so many people, like even from my relatives or anyone, like anyone from my, let's say, juniors from college. I always help them if they want to come here, whatever questions they have. So you guys are also, let's say, you can also contact me anytime if you have any questions regarding application process or what you want to do. Any questions you can ask me.
That'd be
Okay.
great, actually.
And
Sachin,
okay,
one
thank
last question. Just like a couple of our students, they want to do some kind of like a support work for your machine learning stuff. Like, would that be interested? Like, would you be interested to take one or two students and give them a small like assignments from your work? Actually, would that be possible? Whatever the work you do, personal work, you don't need to share your official work, but you can do some personal
Mm-hmm.
research, machine learning thing, so they can learn it from you. Actually.
Yes, sir, I can do that, but I'm not sure when I can do that because now I am completely held up with my master thesis and I'm also going to start my, let's say, full-time job. So for now, I'm not doing anything extra because I'm so occupied with the interviews and everything. But I can, let's say, um from June or July, I will be available to do that. I can guide a few people if they would
Okay.
like to do, let's say, some simple projects which are already there with public data sets and everything.
Okay, that'd be great. Yeah, we'll keep you posted. We'll reach you
Mhm.
out. Thank you.
No problem. You're welcome.
Thank you, Raja sir. Thank you, Gayatri. As I was saying, it was a very interactive session. And thank you so much for accepting our request and joining us today. Looking forward to working with you in the future and also for all those referrals from you for Bosch. We'll keep you posted. Stay connected with us. So once again, on behalf of Futurepreneur, thank you so much for joining us today. We express our deep gratitude to you. Thank you, Gayatri.
Thank you so much for having me. It was a pleasure.
It was ours. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye, Gayatri.
Oh, bye.
Thank you, guys. Thank you. Have a good one.
Thank
Take
you,
care.
sir.
I'll get back to you later. Thank you. Have a good one.
Yeah, sure.
Vice, yeah, sorry, just like a random winner, you need to select.
Yes, sir. Ready.
The wheel is ready. Sorry for the delay. It's a long thing, so I didn't expect that even. Sorry for that.
No problem, sir. So
Can I
we are
do it?
running the random winner first.
Yes.
Okay, so we will run the random winner for today. Meanwhile, Vaishnavi, just message me the winners of the questionnaire, okay? Yeah, so let's run the wheel and see who is the winner for this week's AMA. Okay, that's a long spin. Let's see. Hari, congratulations. You're the lucky winner for this week's AMA. Hari? Okay, Hari, I
Uh,
believe Hari Prasad.
Probably network might have gone.
Okay, no problem. So can we announce the other two winners?
Vaishnavi?
Okay, so the best questions for today's live AMA was shouted out by Gokul and Divya P. Congratulations to both of you. Congratulations, Gokul, and congratulations,
Thank you,
Divya.
Sonia. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah. So you, Gokul, you asked quite a lot of questions. How informative was this AMA for you?
Uh, Actually speaking, always AMA sessions are useful for every student out there. And
Okay,
the question which I asked was how to be more productive as a student, actually. So
okay,
she's a unique personality today when compared to the students who studied with her in a bachelor's degree. So the things which she did during her days will obviously inspire every one of us to become like her. And the things which she did, we also start to do those things. That will
yes,
be
correct.
more productive, more than being a bookworm or just being a topper in CGPA.
Yeah, very true. That was a very interesting question from your side. Thank you so much, Gokul, for those
Yeah,
questions and congratulations.
thank you, Sonia.
Divya, hi Divya.
Hi, Sonia. Thank you.
Congratulations. I think you didn't let Mridula ask those questions. You just asked all of her questions too, did you?
Actually, Mithila is not here. Only I was there.
Okay, so how helpful was this live AMA for you?
Yeah, it was really helpful. It will help each and every girl who need to pursue her higher studies in abroad.
Yeah, yeah. Your questions were very, it was very lively. It was like about the present. Like you asked how South Indian girls can travel abroad for their higher studies. I hope you received the right answers that you were looking for.
Yeah, surely I received all the answers.
Congratulations once again, Divya.
Thank you.
Okay, so thank you everybody. We have come to the end of today's live AMA. Hope all of you had a very great, informative, and an interactive session. Thank you so much for joining us once again on behalf of Featurepreneur, expressing my deep gratitude to all the participants. Thank you so much, guys. We'll see you on the next episode.